I'm ready to talk to you about Talk to Me. Let's talk about A24's new unsettling horror film. Hey everyone, this is David Starr from Watcher Pass, and I'm here to talk to you about Talk to Me, which is coming to theaters on July 28th, 2023. It's a new horror film by A24 that is up against some pretty big competition for that July 28th weekend, but it is a really good horror film. My hot take is, look, I think you should watch it. It is messed up, but in a really good way. It has some great tension, a really good buildup, tons of really, really good practical effects, and kind of an energy and recklessness of youth that is fun to see. It is a disturbing film, but it is also just a really well done horror movie. I'm going to tell you a little more of the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and then quickly go into the ending. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the ending section. If you don't want to know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off when I get to the ending section. But before that, I'll keep it vague, I'll keep it spoiler free, and I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So in Talk to Me, the main character is this girl, Mia, who has had a pretty rough go of it for the last couple of years. Her mom died a couple of years ago. It's unclear whether she committed suicide or if it was an accident, but it kind of left a hole in her and her family. She doesn't really get along with her dad. So she spends a lot of time with her friend Jade's family and has just become essentially a surrogate member of their family. But all that changes when a party game involving this strange supernatural artifact affects Mia in unforeseen ways and affects her life and the life of everyone else around her in drastic ways. So things I liked about this movie. The first, look, I love the start. It is a really good horror movie start. It is shocking. It is kind of a way to really focus you on the film and some of the grave consequences of what is going on. I thought it was a really great way to start this film, and it kind of kept it mysterious. You didn't really know what happened, but it definitely grabbed your attention. So the second thing I love the characters. There's a nice variety of different characters, different kids from various backgrounds, and also who are motivated by different things. I liked that, it was a group of friends and everyone felt different, everyone felt unique, and they all kind of approach this situation differently, and that kind of made for a nice film as you're trying to figure out what's going on, who's going to do what. It definitely is a nice cast of characters. The main character is Mia and this surrogate family, but there are definitely some other characters that come in and out throughout the experience. The third thing I love, and this is always great for a horror movie, the effects are fantastic. They are really good practical effects. They are grotesque. They are wet at times. They are unsettling. The filmmakers definitely stuck to the practical, stuck to kind of what they could do best and what they knew best. And the film is better because of it. There's not a ton of gore, but when it is there, it is unsettling. There's not a ton of use of the practical effects, but when they're there, it is something to behold, for good and bad. The third thing I love is the tension. This film has a kind of nice tension that builds up throughout the movie. It has a really slow buildup, which I love in a horror film. It doesn't ever feel boring because it does introduce new things here and there, but the overall horror buildup is slow, deliberate, and so tense. There are many scenes when you're holding your breath, not sure what's happening, not sure what's real, not sure what's not. There are definitely some scenes that throw you for some loops. The film is kind of like a slow build tension film that has a ton of strange situations and some psychological effects as well. It is just a really good overall buildup. And the last thing I love, look, I love the ending. This is a really good horror ending. It kind of fits with the tone. It fits with the themes that are going on. I thought it was a really kind of nice way to pull it all together. And I'm not going to get into it here. I will get into it later in the spoiler section. So that being said, things I didn't really love as much. The first, I didn't love the main character. There's nothing against Sophie Wilde. She did a fantastic job as Mia, but Mia's character is a little bit unlikable, at least for me. I didn't really connect with her, and some of the things that she did seemed a little unreasonable, seemed a little selfish. But it's a horror movie. If you didn't have unreasonable, selfish things, you probably wouldn't have much of a story. But overall, I didn't love Mia as much as I normally like a main horror protagonist. And the second thing I didn't love, there are some aspects that are unexplained. This isn't a terrible thing in horror. Again, this is a minor thing, but there are some reasons for why Mia's experience is a little different, why certain things are happening to her and not others, that they don't really get into that much. And you can kind of guess from certain things, but overall, there's some things that are left unexplained. And, I guess that's fine in horror. That's fine to have those things happen. But I do kind of wish that some of those things were explored a little more. But that being said, Talk to Me is a really good indie horror film. I can't believe it's the directors Danny and Michael Philippou, who are brothers. It's their feature debut, and it is such a debut. You should definitely go check it out. It has some stiff competition when it comes out, but if you're into horror, if you're interested in a horror movie, an indie horror movie, definitely check this one out. It's coming to theaters on July 28, 2023. I'm going to go into the ending right now. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers. If you don't want to know what happens in this film, I would turn it off now. So like I said, This film focuses on Mia, who has had a rough run of things. Her mother died a couple years ago. Like I said, it's unclear whether it was suicide or an accident, but it definitely affected Mia. It definitely tore her family apart. So she has been spending a lot of time with the surrogate family, her friend Jade, her friend's brother Riley, and their mom Sue. And she's become kind of a part of this family, and it's all going well until this weird like party game happens. It's kind of like, the old school party games, you play Bloody Mary, you play like Ouija board, but this is a little more intense. There is this like plaster hand that these two kids have, and there are like hints of what happens earlier in the film. There's a bunch of like TikTok videos of these kids like going into convulsions and having like strange blackness in their eyes, but you finally get to see it at this later party where they pull out this hand, this like plaster hand, and the kids like tell them what to do. You basically have to light a candle to, I guess, open the door, grab the hand, and then tell the hand, talk to me. And when that happens, a spirit will like connect to them and talk to them. And if you say the next words, let me in, then, or I let you in, or something along those lines, then the spirit will like fully absorb, and that spirit will like possess you for a little bit. And how each person reacts is very different. It kind of feels like it's based a little bit on your desires and things that you're interested in, but it is all over the place. Now, when Mia gets it, she reacts very badly. She kind of gets this very scary tone. She looks at Riley and mentions something about how like they're waiting to feast on you, and then she just like gets very creepy very quickly. And when they try to like break her grip from the hand, because one of the other rules is you can only do this for 90 seconds at the most. After that, I guess the spirit might be able to stay with you. I don't know where they all got these rules. I guess they got this for the previous person. It feels like maybe they should just destroy this hand, but you know what? It wouldn't be much of a horror movie if they didn't have horrible artifacts and bad decisions. So when they're trying to break the grip for Mia, they can't do it. And they're eventually able to break it, but I think it goes a little bit longer than 90 seconds. They're counting it down. They're trying to break it. I think it goes for a little bit more than 90 seconds. So after they're finally able to break the grip, Mia said it felt amazing. She wants to do it again. And so later they have another session so that all the kids can try it out. And they're trying it out. They're, going crazy. Weird things are happening. And then the young one, the younger brother, Riley, decides that he wants a turn. And initially his sister's like, no, like, absolutely not. You're too young. It's not okay. But she leaves the room, and Riley convinces Mia to let him do it for 50 seconds. So less than 90 seconds, but still a dangerous situation. She agrees. Riley does the ritual. And what seems to occur is that Mia's mom possesses Riley. Riley, like, his voice changes. He calls Mia by like an old nickname, and it seems like Mia's mom is there. Now, when the 50 seconds happen, the friends are like, stop, stop. But Mia's like, no, no, keep going, because she wants to see her mom. And after this, Riley changes. He like turns, he becomes violent. He starts hitting his head against the table. He flies across the room. They try to break the grip, they're not able to. And eventually, Riley essentially like concusses himself, destroys his face, really, really hurts himself, hurts his sister as well. His sister tries to stop him, and he just like headbutts her hand into like a dresser, which breaks her hand. They're eventually able to break the grip, but Riley is in bad shape. This causes them to call the hospital. This causes the cops to get involved. It seems like everything is going to go downhill from here. Riley goes to the hospital. He's essentially in a coma. He's not really moving much. He is in very, very, very bad shape. And everyone blames Mia because she let him do it. The mom thinks that Mia like slipped him something that caused this to happen. The sister, blames Mia for allowing him to do this after she said no. Rightfully so. I mean, she probably shouldn't have done this, but in any event, this further isolates Mia. But after this whole incident, Mia starts having visions of the ghost. So like I said, when you touch that hand, the person can see ghosts while they're touching the hand. Well, now Mia's not touching the hand. She's not opening the doorway, but she's having visions of ghosts, and it is starting to affect her. Some very weird things happen. She sees her mom a lot. Her mom seems to be kind of like nice and helpful at the start, but then as time passes, she becomes more and more sinister. Her face becomes like more disfigured, more like a corpse. It is a nice touch that the more that Mia sees her, like as this is progressing, the mom becomes more and more kind of evil looking, more and more dead looking. But eventually Mia wants to figure out what to do with Riley, how to like fix him. And so she thinks that maybe they didn't disconnect the ghost and the ghost is still in there. And that's why Riley is still in a coma. When he wakes up, he like tries to hurt himself. So they go in, they try to do the ritual again. It doesn't work. And this time Mia does the ritual again and like tries to talk to Riley's like spirit through the device. And when she's in there, she sees this little girl who says that she'll show Mia what's happening. And then it switches to this like debaucherous-ish scene where like Riley is kind of on the ground surrounded by like different corpse like things that are trying to devour him. It is a very shocking scene. Apparently in an earlier cut of the film, it was like 2.5 minutes. Thankfully, it's only like 5 to 10 seconds in this movie, but it is a shocking scene. And basically Mia is given this vision to show that like Riley is in pain. He's being devoured by these ghosts and she has to stop it. Now, throughout this movie, you are not sure if like you're actually seeing what is happening or if these ghosts are like tricking you, trying to manipulate you. So you don't actually really know like if this is Riley, if this is actually what's happening to Riley, or if they are trying to like convince Mia to do something terrible, manipulate Mia to do something as part of like, I don't know, their interaction with her, maybe to like add to their numbers. You don't really know, but all we know is that Mia thinks that she has to help Riley. And eventually Mia goes home after this horrible vision and her dad is there. And her dad essentially like wants to come clean about Mia's mom. He didn't tell her when this happened, but Mia's mom left her a note. And when he starts reading it, it is sweet, but it also is very much a suicide note that her mom is like telling Mia that she's full of hope at this point, that she's sorry that she has to do this, and she hopes that someday Mia will understand that this is like what ended her pain. It is a very kind of sweet moment. After this, Mia feels a little overwhelmed. And also, this is not what the mom that she's been seeing is telling her. As this is happening, she hears in her head like something saying like, that's a lie, like I didn't write that. And so she goes into her room and starts talking to her mom. And her mom says, you know, that wasn't real. I didn't write that. That wasn't from me. And she says that her dad is like, I think possessed or a ghost or something. Like her dad is not her dad, and he's going to come and hurt her. And when this happens, Mia starts having like hearing her dad like slamming on the door, breaking into her room. And while this is happening, you also get scenes of her dad, and her dad is just sitting on the couch, like reading the note, kind of figuring out what to do next. But Mia is terrified because this dad apparition comes into her room and like throws her on the ground and like starts strangling her. And Mia is like fighting with it, trying to fight with this thing. She eventually grabs some scissors. And while this is happening, you hear her dad like hear Mia like struggling. So he goes in to try to help her. He can't open her room. He like breaks down her door. He sees her on the ground, like twitching essentially. Doesn't see anything around her because he can't see these ghosts and things. But he goes down to try to help her. And at this moment, Mia grabs the scissors and stabs the apparition that she thought was on top of her, which now is her dad. Not good for anyone. Stabs him in the neck. It is not a good scene for him. And you're like, oh crap, like that is not good for anyone involved. But Mia just kind of like, I think, brushes this off, thinks that she killed that apparition, and now is going to do her final act. She's going to end Riley's pain, end this like horrible thing that's happening to him. So she gets to the hospital. She tricks the parents, she tricks the family to try to get Riley separate, and she starts wheeling Riley to the highway. And early in this film, there was a scene where Mia and Riley were driving. They came across this like hurt kangaroo that had been hit by a car. And Riley wanted her to put it out of its pain, but Mia couldn't. Well, now I think Mia is going to try to put Riley out of his pain by using the same tactic, by pushing Riley into the highway. She gets Riley down to the edge of this highway. You can see her mother like putting her hands on her shoulders, encouraging her, saying how proud she is. It seems like Mia is going to do this, going to fulfill this act, going to end Riley's pain, but in actuality, just kill him. And as this is happening, you see Jade, who realizes what's happening, like run towards Mia, trying to stop her. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know who is going to get there first. And then you see a car, and like something hit the windshield. The car like swerves out of the way. And when the camera pans back, you see Mia stand up. And you're like, oh, that was crazy. Like she jumped in front of a car and she's alive. She's fine. And you see, she looks over, you see Jade like holding Riley, cuddling Riley. So Riley didn't go in the in the road. It seems like Mia at that point threw herself in the road to end this whole thing, but she seems fine. Then she gets kind of like transported to the hospital. She's walking around and she's like gets these visions of things. She sees like Riley getting better. She sees her dad like walking down the hall. She like tries to see Riley, but the light like turns off in that room. She tries to go to her dad, but the hospital starts getting dark. It starts getting darker and darker throughout the hospital as she's trying to pursue her dad. Eventually, all the lights go off, and Mia is left in this darkness. And then off in the distance, you see a light pop up, and Mia's drawn to it like a moth to a flame. She's drawn to this light, this candle that was lit, and she goes towards it. And when she gets there, she sees this party with these people like doing the ritual. Person has his hand out. He lit a candle. Mia grabs his hand. This like spirit apparition. Mia grabs his hand. He says, "Talk to me," and then he says the next magic words like, "I let you in." And that's the end of the movie. That is Talk to Me. So like I said, I love the ending. I like how this is a very kind of bleak horror ending. Like Mia had a tough time, but through it all, she kind of like succumbed to the spirits, succumbed to the things that were kind of like trying to possess her, and eventually ended up in that spirit world and is now kind of a lost spirit who's going to be drawn to this artifact, this like ritual to then interact with these people. I thought it was a really kind of clever way to end it. I thought it was a really nice bleak horror ending. Not good for Mia, but you know what? It fits with the tone of this film. It fits with everything going on. So I loved it. I thought this was a really good film. A few minor things I didn't love, but overall, it's a really fantastic indie horror movie and a really amazing debut from these two directors. So that is Talk to Me. Check it out in theaters on July 28, 2023. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.